But I would suggest that the president meet with Michael Savage and those who have strong feelings and ideas about immigration, because I'll spell them out for you again, in case you don't know what it is. Are you ready? Do not deport the 800,000 or a million students brought here, the young people brought here by their parents. But eliminate all funding for all DACA programs at every college, junior college in America. Eliminate all the programs, no federal money. Make them fend for themselves. No programs, no scholarships, no advisors. And also to compensate for the 800,000 you are legalizing, in essence, in one way or the other, you're legalizing them. I want you to deport all the illegal alien prisoners immediately. There's about 600,000 to 700,000 of them in prisons across America. And so you can balance out the 800,000 or so with the 700,000 or so with the stroke of a few strokes of the pen. Did you hear what I just said? I'm actually in the idea business. That's why I have had 5 best-selling books in a row. I have to repeat it because many of you don't know who I am. I love when Politico reports what conservatives say. They make believe I don't exist. Well, you know what? They can go to hell because they don't exist as far as I'm concerned. My audience exists. I exist. My ideas will live long after Politico is gone and all the other magazines out there or internet publications that make believe Michael Savage doesn't exist. I exist and I have better ideas on this than anybody in this country. Nobody has matched my ideas on this balancing act. Nobody. And if you don't want to listen to what I have to say, do so at your own risk. Because I can guarantee you the president will. Now, why is it that there's such strong opposition to these poor kids who are brought here against their will? What do you mean brought here by against their will? Their parents smuggled them in order that they get a free ride. What do you mean they smuggled it? They came here against it, didn't commit a crime. Of course their illegal alien parents brought them here for a better way of life. Who is paying for the better way of life? And at whose expense? Is it at the expense of Nancy Pelosi's children or grandchildren? No. Who is paying for the price of the illegal aliens called DACA? Who is paying for it? Poor whites primarily, poor blacks secondarily, and other races on the third rung. All the programs that are being sucked dry of money, all that money is going to these illegal alien kids. Do you understand that? Okay, that's all. The reason they should not be granted amnesty is because the American people don't want it. But let's say that you agree that the country's divided and that you have to compromise and that you have to grant amnesty to these 800,000 or a million of them. I've come up with a compensation, which is deport the 600,000 to 700,000 illegal aliens who are in prisons. That's number one. And number two, Mr. Trump, cut all funding for all DACA programs. Make them fend for themselves just as I did. Maybe you grew up in Jamaica Estates and your father was a successful construction or builder, and he was. I respect that. I grew up on the other side of Union Turnpike in Queens, and we were not exactly poor, but my father was an immigrant. He worked his way up from a slum in the Bronx to an attached house in Queens that we rented. Then he bought an attached house on Utopia Parkway for $14,000 in 1952. I went to city colleges. I went to Queens College because we couldn't afford to go to a private college. Nobody gave me special help. There were no programs for the children of immigrants. There were no benefits, no scholarships. And it made me a stronger man. A much stronger man and a better American. And that's what they need. They need strong medicine, not a free ride in this country. But I've asked those of you who are in favor of amnesty for DACA kids to call us and tell us why. Glenda, KPRC. You are calling the Savage Nation. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hi. Thank you for having me on your show. I feel as if a lot of the information that you're spewing is not correct. These people who are recipients of the DACA program have to have an extremely extensive background check to qualify.
Glenda, you sound like you're just making this up as you talk.
No,
so where do you get your evidence from?
I get my evidence from the news, from BBC.
Oh, the news. Oh, yeah, okay.
I know. It's the left side. I know you're not very fond of that, but they're the...
Well, how about if I give you some facts rather than the news? Would you like some facts from a man who was a former immigration official? Would you be at least willing to listen to that if I'll give you the man's name and what he has to say?
I'd be willing to listen to that, no doubt. But I'm not going to sit here and have you say that these people are gang members.
What do you mean you're not going to sit there and say, who are you? Who the hell are you to tell me you're not going to sit there and let me say, who the hell are you? What do you think? You're in your college classroom right now telling everyone to shut up because you're so important? You're going to listen to me. Who are you? You're nobody. I'll give you the evidence if you wanted, Glenda, on KPRC. Are you willing to listen? Or because you can't shoot your mouth off now, you're going to hang up the phone?
Give me the name. Give me the name of the person. What's his name? What's the name of the person who claims that there are this amount of people who are in the program who are gang officials?
DACA fraud rate is at 40 to 50%, according to, are you ready? The former manager of the USCIS, manager of the agency's investigative unit, Matt O'Brien, alleged that the fraud rate for DACA is roughly 40 to 50% and potentially even higher. And he is quoted by saying, based on what I had seen and what I discussed with my colleagues, the fraud rate is at 40 to 50%. According to O'Brien, the DACA program was riddled with fraud and abuse from the beginning, where illegal alien applicants for the program allegedly lied on applications and were rarely caught by USCIS officials. And he says there's a huge rate of fraud in this program. I can pause right there, but you can read it for yourself. I thank you for listening. I'm sure your mind is made up because you're positive that you're right, and all of those who came from the countries of origin that you're so fond of are also all sterling citizens. Since DACA's inception, only 2,100 DACA recipients saw their protected status revoked for being involved in gang activity, only 2,100, or suspected or convicted of a felony. And due to a loophole in the DACA program, more than 39,000 illegal aliens have been able to obtain green cards, and more than 1,000 of them naturalized.